Don't worry, real dealies, because I'm back.
Whew, and I am really glad about it. But Eli, you have to stop abandoning me with that monster.
I'm sorry because I was busy, not dying.
Oh yeah, what were you doing? Scaling Mount Everest or fighting a bear? What, were you taking media law class? I mean, what's your excuse?
I had the flu. Sorry for being considerate and not spreading it to you and the rest of the cast. Achoo.
What are you doing? Okay, if we die, Brandon and his pilgrim follower are going to take our places.
You mean Kyle?
Yes, exactly. Now, we have to hurry and get through the show before we're all deathly ill. So, from Ball State University, The Real Deal starts now.
I think you're blowing this way out of proportion.
I'm not. Welcome, everyone, to another capricious episode of The Real Deal, Ball State's premier entertainment news show. I'm Angelo Oriema.
And I'm Eli Brunsman. This week we have Nathan Richard with a trailer watch, Shelby Deal with the review, and a whole lot more.
Let me tell you something, Eli. It is something I'm very, very passionate about.
Okay.
Incredibles 2, okay? You see, I am going to be the first in line at that rundown theater at the Muncie Mall, and I don't care how many snot-nosed brats I have to trample to get to the front. It is my childhood and not theirs.
But Angelo, how do you know if it's incredible or not? Because it doesn't come out for another 6 months?
Eli, have you seen Incredibles before?
You mean the superhero movie, and there's 4 of them? One of them's really strong. Their names, represent their powers.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
And Michael B. Jordan.
No, Eli, that's Fantastic Four. That's not even the bad Fantastic Four. That's the horrible Fantastic Four. You know what? I'm done. Okay, I'm going to let Nathan Richard clear things up. Take it away, Nathan.
With Black Panther opening this past weekend, studios have been releasing trailers for their hottest movies to play before the film. So today, let's take a look at some of those trailers. First up, we have Solo: A Star Wars Story. The film has gone through a number of production problems, including losing its directors, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, midway through production and replacing them with Ron Howard. There was also concern as just a few weeks ago, not even a frame of the movie was revealed, and the film comes out this Memorial Day, which is just a little more than 4 months away. But now we finally have the first trailer, and it looks good. It does look better than I anticipated it to be, but I still have my concerns. Alden Ehrenreich is a talented actor, just see Hail Caesar. But I'm still skeptical if he'll be able to recapture the gruff charm Harrison Ford brought to the character. But since it's Star Wars, Solo still certainly has my money. Next up, there's Ready Player One, the new Steven Spielberg film based off the best-selling novel by Ernest Cline. The film takes us into the not-too-distant future in 2045, where almost everyone in the world plays a virtual reality game known as the Oasis. When the game's creator dies and sets up a contest that would give the winner his entire fortune, everybody attempts to find the game's Easter egg. Now, I might be a bit biased with what I'm about to say, since Steven Spielberg, in my personal opinion, is the best director working today and one of the best directors ever to work in the industry. But this movie looks awesome. I'm not just talking about the film's nostalgic Easter eggs to Back to the Future, The Iron Giant, and Akira, but also the technical achievements this film has in terms of visual effects. I'm more than confident Ready Player One is going to be a hit. Finally, the last trailer I want to cover is Incredibles 2, the long-awaited sequel to Pixar's beloved superhero movie. Helen, aka Elastigirl, takes the lead this time around, with Bob, aka Mr. Incredible, staying home to watch the kids. I can't overstate how excited I am to see this film. The animation looks beautiful and so full of life, and the bits in the trailer involving Bob and Jack had me cracking up. I do worry, though, that this could be a repeat of the first film, but the film's director, Brad Bird, has stated that the sequel would only be made if the story was equal, if not better, than the first. So it looks like it could be something special. I'm Nathan Richard, and that was this week's Trailer Watch.
Thanks, Nathan.
Oh, I remember that movie now. Samuel L. Jackson's in it.
Yes, he is. That's true.
The Avengers.
Eli, The Incredibles is an animated Disney movie.
Disney owns the Avengers.
Disney owns everything, Eli. It owns Star Wars, Marvel, ABCs.
Do they own the alphabet?
No, just the first 3 letters of the alphabet. You see, the rest are public domain for now. In fact, they probably own Shelby Deal's segment, but we're not going to let her know that. So, Shelby, take it away.
Recently, I went to a Blackbear concert, and let me tell you, it was an experience for me. If you are not familiar with Blackbear, you should be. He is a rap/R&B artist that has really awesome beats and clever lyrics to go along with it. One of the best things about this concert has to be the atmosphere in the venue. It was at Bogart's in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is a smaller venue that is a club-like setting. This was a much different experience for me from other concerts I've been to because my taste is usually a little more mainstream, like Bruno Mars at Bankers Life Fieldhouse or One Direction at Lucas Oil Stadium. Well, I just want to say that I loved the venue. It was a party-like atmosphere, so it wasn't weird to dance along to the music like might happen at larger venues. Also, there were no seats, so no one could kill the vibe by sitting down. Even though I had to stand on my tippy toes to actually see the stage over some very tall people, I enjoyed the venue because if nothing else, it was a new and cool experience. Now, one of the things that I was most worried about going to this concert was the set list. This was because he just released his new album, Cybersex, just released it, so I wouldn't have enough time to listen to the album enough to be able to sing along to it. But my worries were for nothing because his set list was pretty evenly split throughout all his albums, including Help, Dead Roses, Cashmere Noose, and Digital Drug Lord, as well as Cybersex. He also played some of my favorite songs, Wanderlust, IDFC, Anxiety, I Miss the Old You, and Juicy Sweatsuits. I was a very happy camper, as I'm sure most people were, because no matter what era you became a Blackbear fan, you at least had one song from then. Blackbear's performance was great. He had a lot of energy, but he was also laid back at the same time. He smoked on stage, but he also jumped up and down along with the crowd with his songs. It was a nice balance. He also played the guitar and piano on a couple of his songs, which I did not expect. With his songs being so synthesized and obviously produced with technology, it was surprising to see he knew how to play those instruments. It allowed for some acoustic versions of his songs, which was a nice change of pace. He also had a better voice than I actually expected. He hit most of the high notes in his songs, which was wonderful. Overall, I enjoyed this concert. It was great and fun all around, especially when he came back on stage for an encore, which a lot of other people already left, so I got to sneak up closer to the stage, and I had lots of fun. I encourage everyone to check him out.
Thanks, Shelby.
Great review, and not to worry because we are not done yet. We've got a bunch more reviews coming up after this break.
Thanks for sticking with us. Angelo, what are you doing?
Oh, AP Bio homework.
Weren't you supposed to take that in high school? You're a junior in college.
I know, Eli, but I don't want him to take my lunch money.
Who?
This 13-year-old brat, okay, he's been following me home every day from school going, Toucan Sam, Toucan Sam. Well, guess what? He just keeps pelting me with pebbles unless I do his homework.
Why am I not surprised? Actually, speaking of which, when is my media law going to be done?
Eli, I'm doing it as fast as I can. Okay, I'll do it during Tyler's segment. Jeez, take it away, Tyler.
I hope you've done your AP Bio homework. Unless you're in Jack Griffin's class, then it may not be necessary or encouraged. AP Bio, a show airing on NBC, starring the ever-pleasant Patton Oswalt and immensely talented Glenn Howerton of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fame, with fans of It's Always Sunny flocking to the premiere episode to see their boy Dennis Reynolds in a new environment. Many had great fear, thinking that they would not let Howerton do what Howerton does best, let loose and be psychotic. Well, fans can rest easy knowing that Howerton brings the same chaotic, violent, and sex-driven character to AP Bio that he has in Always Sunny. The show is about a former philosophy professor, Jack Griffin, played by Howerton, who takes a job teaching AP Biology. He soon learns that he can get his students to do whatever he wants, including, but not limited to, catfishing his nemesis. Oh yeah, he's got a nemesis. When thinking of a philosophy professor, you probably are expecting a nicely dressed, well-shaven, or fully bearded man, full of wisdom. Well, you may be disappointed, or pleasantly surprised, to find that Jack Griffin is none of those things. Rocking some sexy stubble, sweatpants, and carrying his lunch with him in a plastic sack, Jack definitely gives off the slacker vibe that you wouldn't expect from a Harvard professor. With only 3 episodes available to us right now, we have seen Jack show little to no caring for the kids in his class, leaving them unattended for a good duration of each episode. He's a rude, vile man who only cares about bettering himself, an odd thing to see in a protagonist. In his short time at the school, he has already told his students to never write down anything he says and to throw their textbooks out the window. He does talk a lot about his favorite philosophers and philosophies from time to time, and has openly addressed to his students that he will never teach them biology. With the students just wanting to learn what they came there to learn, they butt heads with the professor on more than one occasion, even getting him sent to teacher jail in the second episode, which he loves because it means he gets paid to sit around all day and concentrate on things he actually cares about. Howerton is absolutely hilarious in this role. With his quick quips, fits of rage, and general lack of caring, he truly brings some life to the show, which without him would generally feel lacking. While Patton Oswalt is great in the show, as Principal Durbin, and the rest of the cast shining bright as well, the show just feels like it wouldn't be able to hold without Howerton in the spotlight. He brings his acting range and lets it shine bright in this show, like he does in basically every other project he's in. And honestly, I couldn't see anyone else fitting this role. With plot lines that seem like they were written by someone new to the whole writing thing, the show just feels like it could have been a bit more fun and innovative. While the show doesn't try anything too crazy, it still comes off as a good time. While living up to the enjoyment of It's Always Sunny may be impossible to match for some fans, AP Bio is still a nice comedy for people who have a sense of humor. I give AP Bio a rating of 4 out of 5 and highly recommend it to anyone who's interested in a good time. Well, that's going to do it for me. I've been Tyler Landis, and I always will be. Back to you, Eli.
Thanks, Tyler. And A+ work, Angelo. Don't worry. I'll do it with the bully for you.
Oh, thank God.
Turns out that the Wakandan prince I gave my savings to really paid off.
You did what?
Yeah, he has a bulletproof black suit, resembles a cat on steroids, and he's an Avenger now.
Are you talking about Black Panther? Eli, it's important for me to know that you're talking about Black Panther. Do you know this isn't real?
What's not real?
Nothing. I'll tell you when you're older.
Okay, I'm older now.
Okay, fine. I'll tell you now. But they can't know. I want to spare them from this. Meanwhile, here's Josie Underhill with her views on the new Marvelous movie. Josie?
The movie every Marvel fan has been waiting for is finally here, Black Panther. And let me tell you, it's definitely an action-packed, intense movie that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Black Panther is about Prince T'Challa's return home to Wakanda to take his rightful place as king. Wakanda appears to the world as a third world country, but secretly is the most advanced society ever due to its wealth of vibranium. When T'Challa takes his throne, an old enemy rises, threatening to take his crown and destroy everything Wakanda has stood for. T'Challa's leadership and power as the Black Panther are tested as he is drawn into a challenge for the fate of Wakanda and the world. In his darkest hour, the young king must rally with his allies and use the full power of the Black Panther to secure the safety and prosperity of his country. This film stars Chadwick Boseman, Michael B. Jordan, and Lupita Nyong'o, and was directed by Ryan Coogler. There is definitely a lot of hype about this movie leading up to its release, and I'm happy to say that the film mostly lived up to it. Although Black Panther is a great hero with honor and grace, one of the major high points in the movie was the villain, Eric Killmonger. He was an evil guy with at first one goal in mind, kill T'Challa and take Wakanda. But there was also a different side to Killmonger as well. He had seen the suffering of the African people firsthand and wanted to help these people in the same way that the other main characters did. However, he went about it completely wrong, which led to the ultimate battle for Wakanda. Another part of this movie that I really liked was the family dynamics. The rituals and family secrets kept the film interesting, and the relationship between T'Challa and his sister was probably my favorite part of the film. Shuri is not like other princesses. She's a scientist who has created all Black Panther's armor and is responsible for most of the advancements in Wakanda. But also, she isn't afraid to fight for what she believes in, which made her my favorite character. One aspect that could have been done better, though, was the forced romance between T'Challa and his ex-lover, Nikita. Nikita was a great character on her own, and because so much of the romance happened before the movie, it felt rushed and unnecessary to add. Overall, I give this movie a 4 out of 5 stars and recommend you see it. I'm Josie Underhill. See you next time.
Thanks, Josie. Now, sorry, guys. I kind of told Eli the truth about the scam that all of her life savings went to.
Why would you even tell me that?
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. We'll earn that money back right after this break.
Okay, whatever. Thanks to you, Angelo. My life savings is back in its proper place.
Don't mention it. And remember, I'm only one call away, because Superman ain't got nothing on me.
Are you quoting Charlie Puth lyrics?
No, don't be silly. That came straight from my noggin.
Are you sure you don't just want, a little attention?
No, don't go throwing my name on dirt all over the place, okay? You act like I quote this music on the daily, like I'm some sort of Charlie Puth expert or something. Pfft, I'll tell you who the real expert is. Abby Perry. She's got a whole segment about his new album. Abby?
I've been a longtime fan of Charlie Puth. I mean, I'm talking way back when he was doing musical comedy-ish things on YouTube in college. I have watched him become the star that he has, and I am naturally very proud. His first full album has some great hits. I encourage people to give it a listen to More Than Just One Call Away, which is all they played on the radio, and I wasn't super fond of that song in the first place. But there were other songs on the album that I loved. His first album was a lot better than that song would have shown. That isn't the only album that that has a lot to offer either. His new album, Voice Note, is being released one song at a time. So far, it is shaping up to be another great album. His first release was Attention. This song is about Bella Thorne, which is probably why I love it so much, as I'm not a huge fan of her. However, this song is getting annoying with how much they play it. It's very catchy, but I think the radio can play other songs. The song itself, though, is a fun song. It has a nice beat that makes people want to dance. It is one of those songs that you listen to when someone makes you mad. I would definitely love that song if I didn't have to listen to it every single day. The next song that was released was How Long? I love this song. This song is a little different than most songs, as he makes himself the victim. He is honest and acknowledges the fact that sometimes it isn't everyone else's fault. I'm really getting tired of pop songs blaming everyone else for their relationships ending. It is always refreshing to me when artists make themselves the bad guy. This song is also a fun one to dance to. The last song that has been released is a collab with Boyz II Men. This song is a typical boy band song, but it really showcases his true talent. He has such a rich, amazing voice, and he doesn't need all that auto-tune. His voice is so smooth and beautiful in this song. Now, the song is a little cheesy, as most boy band songs are, but it is pretty, and it's worth a listen. The rest of Charlie Puth's new album is to come. I, for one, am very excited to see what else he has in store. He has a variety in his music that keeps me listening. I have a special place in my heart, as he was my original favorite YouTuber, but I have faith that I am not the only one that sees his talent. I think everyone should give all of his music a listen because he is a very genuine person with real talent. His live voice matches his recording booth voice, and that's very honorable these days.
Thanks, Abby.
Yeah, sounds like Charlie Puth might become victorious. Am I right, Eli?
Sure.
Okay, once his full album drops,
Yeah.
it might be time to dance. Am I right, Eli?
Wait, now you're making Panic at the Disco puns while talking about Charlie Puth.
Because Puth is threatening me with a good time. Am I right, Eli?
Angela?
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, we have two back-to-back music segments, and I was trying to be clever. This one's about Panic at the Disco. You get that?
Oh, well, you are not victorious.
I realize that now. Take it away, Madison.
Thanks, Angelo. If you haven't heard the amazing news, Panic at the Disco is releasing their 6th album. Brendan Urie, fresh off Broadway, went back to LA and began creating the next Panic at the Disco masterpiece, which will no doubt have his masterful vocals on full display. However, while there aren't many details of when the album will be released, one thing is for certain. It's going to be different than any other Panic album before it, because if there's one thing Panic at the Disco does is create a different album every single time. So for today's segment, while we painfully wait for new music, I thought I'd give you my ranking of the past 5 Panic at the Disco albums. Let's get started. At number 5, I have Panic's sophomore album and final installment with Ryan Ross and John Walker before they left the band, Pretty Odd. This was the easiest choice on the list. Pretty Odd's folk-like tunes were almost too far a step from their first album. In fact, the only way to describe this album is, well, pretty odd. It only had one redeeming song, 9 in the Afternoon, and even that's a stretch. This album did nothing to showcase Urie's vocals. He has such a massive range and strong tone in his voice, which was greatly underappreciated in this album. It held him back rather than pushed him forward. The same goes for the music quality. It took a step back. 4 is Too Weird to Live, Too Young to Die. While this album had a fantastic number of songs like Nicotine, Miss Jackson, Vegas Lights, and one of my all-time favorites, This Is Gospel, which is a beautiful tribute to former drummer Spencer Smith, and one of the most amazing live performances, Yuri Will Leave You in Awe, it wasn't enough to save this album from hitting towards the bottom of the list. What I personally love is the variety of songs Panic has on their albums. For me, this album lacked that. The whole album had a very techno sound. Again, not a bad thing, but I wanted and expected more when this album was released. Hitting right smack dab in the middle is Vices and Virtues, which might be an unpopular opinion. In fact, I'm pretty sure most people forget this album exists. However, right after this album was released, I went to my first Panic concert and it blew me away. At this point in time, Panic had lost 2 key members. They were down to Spencer and Brendan. It was also, in my opinion, the saving grace that pulled them from the aftermath of Pretty Odd. Talk about a total 360 in music. They came back with a new sound, a newfound confidence, and Brendan really let his vocals shine. Every song has a unique quality to it, and there are strings, acoustics, it sounds like an accordion is in there at one point. Creative differences aside, Panic finally found their sound again. There was emotion behind each song, a relatable realism. Want an album that never bores you? It's this one right here. This album also has my personal favorite song, Trade Mistakes. The next 2 spots were the hardest decision. It was a back and forth for days, but I finally made my choice. At number 2 is A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, the album that put Panic at the Disco on the map. Before they were 4 scrappy boys from Las Vegas, then they were signed and made this album, and suddenly they were winning Video of the Year at the VMAs and getting interrupted on stage before Kanye West and Taylor Swift made it cool. A Fever You Can't Sweat Out is Panic's roots. It's a creative masterpiece that showed what music could and should be. At that time, there wasn't anything else like it. Plus, they had sentence-long titles that put Fall Out Boy to shame. I Write Sins Not Tragedies, Line is the most fun a girl can have without taking her clothes off, and There's a Good Reason These Tables Are Numbered, Honey, you just haven't thought of it yet. Talk about a mouthful, but long titles aside, these songs were the defining points of the beginning of their careers. They came off as classy, suave, and catchy, singing about topics ranging from lap dances, hospitals, to not closing doors. It's an amazing album, and who doesn't know I Write Sins Not Tragedies? It taught us how to face things with poise and rationality. However, at number 1, I decided to put Panic's newest album, Death of a Bachelor. A Fever You Can't Sweat Out defined Panic, but Death of a Bachelor defined Brendan Urie. He created the whole album on his own. He recreated Panic with his vocals on full display. He resurfaced as the only member of Panic, and he resurfaced with class and style, in an album in which he had full control over. Don't threaten him with a good time, or he'll create an album that blows your mind. What can I say? Crazy equals genius. For me, this album encompasses the evolution of Panic. It takes bits and pieces of previous albums and makes them an album that shows growth and a revitalization of Panic. Urie showcases his Sinatra tones, incredible range, and show-stopping confidence. And that's just with his voice. This is Urie proving that even though everyone else left, he still came out victorious. It has everything you'd want from a Panic album: creative storytelling, soulful singing, and melodic sounds. It's the perfect statement that Panic isn't slowing down, and the ultimate setup for the upcoming 6th album. Urie made those high heels work straight to a Grammy nomination and Broadway. Now he's going to strut right back into the music scene with no doubt a masterful 6th album, an album which I cannot wait for. So before I go back and fangirl in the control room, I'm Madison McGill. I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Madison. Now, I know you guys were worrying that we wouldn't have a shameless plug this week, but don't panic at the disco, because we've got not 1, but 2 web exclusives.
That's right, we've got Tomb Rating and the best movie quotes of all time.
So make sure to check those out and stay with us, because our final word is up next.
All right, I don't know about you, but I have personally been a huge fan of video games and films involving adventure and treasure hunts, such as Uncharted or Indiana Jones. Well, coming this March, there's someone new putting her name on the adventure film business, and her name is Lara Croft. That's right, folks. Coming on March 16th, Lara Croft is expanding her epic legend to the big screen. Being played by Alicia Vikander, Lara Croft is the fierce and beautiful daughter of the owner of a huge company. However, Lara discovers that her father not only ran a successful business, but he was also discreetly an explorer and adventurer.
I'm going to do something a little different this week. I'll be taking a look at some of the greatest movie quotes of all time. Whether they were scripted or unscripted, these quotes were literal gold for all involved. And here's a disclaimer, these are my own favorites. There was no survey, no testing, just some quotes that I've really enjoyed in my years of watching movies. And like any matter of opinion filmed here on The Real Deal, this will be in a top 5 format.
Hey guys, today I want to talk about a new Netflix original movie that I really enjoyed. Netflix typically doesn't disappoint and they just keep rolling out that interesting content. When We First Met stars our favorite man from Pitch Perfect, Adam Devine. Adam's character, Noah, has been friend-zoned by the beautiful Avery for a few years now. Avery is finally settling down and getting married, but of course, it's to a different guy. Noah is heartbroken by this and tries to drink the pain away at his favorite bar. In a drunken blur, Noah gets into an old photo booth and ends up traveling through time. You heard it, folks. This photo booth is actually a time machine. Noah wishes he could redo that first night he met Avery and try to make the romance of his dreams finally come true. He goes through a lot of trials and tribulations as he experiences the many insane outcomes of this Halloween night. Overall, this movie was a hilarious adventure. Noah was an incredibly sweet character, and it was refreshing to see a male lead in a romantic comedy. This is a romantic movie that actually isn't too cheesy or corny, and both genders will enjoy it. Just because Valentine's Day is over doesn't mean you shouldn't sit down and watch When We First Met. I gave this movie a 5 out of 5 for being the most unpredictable movie I've seen in 2018.
That's pretty high praise.
Thank
well,
you.
thank you, Eli. But I have to apologize to you. You know, it can be difficult to admit to your own faults or admit when you've been hypocritical in the past, but I feel as though I must come clean today. I've made fun of your addiction to reality television numerous times on this show, but as much as I am ashamed to admit it, I have also found myself a slave to reality television in the form of Big Brother. Not proud of it. It's something that has isolated myself from many friends and family members. It's a disease that takes over my life every summertime, keeping me up at night, questioning reality, and frankly, makes me feel a bit ashamed to be human. However, Big Brother has decided to come back this year even earlier to double dip on my addiction in the form of Celebrity Big Brother. And it turns out when you throw 11 B to E ranked celebrities in a house full of cameras and lock them in for weeks at a time, the result is glorious.
Glorious, he says.
Overall, the biggest changes when comparing Celebrity Big Brother to the normal show is both the fact that it's significantly shorter in length and that the house guests' average age is spiked up a few notches, which I actually really appreciate. Although I was skeptical of the special season before it began, I have to say it may go down as one of my favorites ever. Each house guest is there to play. No one's floating, and drama is high each and every episode as people are flip-flopping back and forth between alliances, backstabbing people at the drop of a hat, and contestants are being eliminated every other episode. It's a mad dash to the finish with only 2 weeks down and 1 to go, and it is made for crack cocaine levels of addicting television. Between the entertaining quips of Ross Matthews, the endearing obliviousness of Meta World Peace, and the uncanny resemblance to a villain from an animated Disney movie of Omarosa, the product is something that I can't pull myself away from, despite how much my pride wants me to. Am I invested in the drama in the house, rooting intensely for a former member of Big Time Rush, who is as annoying as he is handsome, and against the former assistant to the president? Yes, I am, 5 nights a week. Do I intend on following the careers of these people after the fact, who I've grown to really know and enjoy? No, absolutely not. Celebrity Big Brother, at the end of the day, is bad television. But it is the best bad television I've seen in a long time. And if that's your thing, and it just so happens to be mine apparently, then I highly recommend watching it. Bachelor is still trash though.
Your segment inspired me, Angelo, and now I have a great idea.
What's that?
Big Brother, Real Deal Edition.
No, well, yeah, that sounds like the kind of bad television that nobody would watch. So that's the difference. But if you can't get enough of us and you want more, check out The Real Deal's website, Facebook, and Twitter pages for news and updates on all things entertainment. I'm Angelo Rama.
And I'm Eli Brunsman. We'll see you next time.